Have you ever met a man who appeared to be absolutely, undeniably flawless? He seamlessly presented himself as your ultimate confidant, the quintessential nice guy, and a fiercely loyal friend who was completely devoted to your happiness, right up until the exact moment you dared to say no. You see, society conditions women to be terrified of the obvious bad boys, but it leaves you entirely defenseless against the wolf dressed elegantly in sheep's clothing. Today, we are pulling back the curtain to expose the dark, deeply unsettling psychology of the fake soulmate. We are going to explore the 3 chilling stages of a covert manipulator, from his initial overwhelming perfection to the terrifying moment his mask finally slips. If you are currently dealing with a man who makes you question your own sanity, you must drop absolutely everything and listen to me closely. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to trigger his true nature. Welcome to Destiny's Decree.
The grand performance of the covert manipulator always begins with what psychologists term love bombing, though I prefer to call it the illusion of absolute loyalty. Unlike the overt narcissist who arrogantly boasts about his achievements, the fake nice guy takes a far more insidious approach. He gracefully enters your life, presenting the energy of a steadfast, devoted companion. He listens to your problems with seemingly rapt attention, offers a reassuring shoulder to cry on, and perfectly mirrors your deepest desires. He creates an incredibly intoxicating artificial environment where you feel so profoundly seen and protected that your natural, healthy boundaries simply melt away. However, you must understand that this extraordinary display of unwavering friendship is not born from genuine affection. It is a highly calculated, predatory reconnaissance mission. While you believe you are finally opening up to your perfect soulmate, he is meticulously mapping out your deepest vulnerabilities, your past traumas, and your specific emotional triggers. Every long late-night conversation and every seemingly empathetic question is designed specifically to gather sensitive intelligence. He is quietly studying exactly what makes you tick, taking careful mental notes that he fully intends to weaponize against you at a later date. This is the very essence of the nice guy trap. He actively encourages you to place him upon a towering pedestal of moral superiority, painting himself as the selfless hero of your narrative. By establishing this profound, unearned trust so early in the dynamic, he ensures that when his behavior inevitably begins to sour, you will categorically refuse to trust your own intuition. You will instantly blame yourself, convinced that such a wonderful, loyal gentleman could never possibly harbor malicious intent. But this immaculate facade requires an immense amount of energy to maintain, and it is remarkably easy to shatter if you know precisely where to strike. Now that you understand the rather treacherous foundation of his nice guy persona, you must actively learn how to test its structural integrity. You categorically do not achieve this by accusing him of manipulation or initiating a dramatic emotional confrontation. Instead, you introduce a concept I like to call the mountain, a firm, entirely immovable boundary. To a covert manipulator who relies exclusively on your eager compliance, a boundary is an absolute insult to his carefully constructed control. The test is remarkably simple, my dear. You simply say no to a seemingly insignificant request, decline a last-minute invitation, or politely but firmly contradict his opinion on a specific matter. You see, a genuinely good man fundamentally respects a high-value woman's right to her own time, opinions, and absolute autonomy. He might be mildly disappointed by a minor rejection, but he will accept it with quiet grace. The fake soulmate, however, views your sudden independence as a direct, terrifying threat to his psychological investment. When you elegantly erect that mountain in his path, you are forcefully blocking the smooth, unhindered access he believed he had secured to your vulnerabilities. You are demonstrating quite clearly that despite his overwhelming campaign of love bombing, you still possess a sovereign mind and a spine of absolute steel. I urge you to watch incredibly closely how he reacts to this microscopic denial. The initial crack in his immaculate mask is rarely a loud, screaming fit. It is far more insidious and calculated. He might employ a sudden, chilling silence, abruptly withdraw his previously overflowing affection, or drop a thinly veiled, passive-aggressive comment designed to induce a sudden wave of guilt. He will immediately attempt to subtly manipulate you into tearing down your own mountain, trying to make you feel entirely unreasonable or difficult for simply having a standard. This initial, deeply uncomfortable friction is the very first whisper of his true nature, perfectly setting the stage for the absolute venom that inevitably follows. When your magnificent mountain remains entirely unshakable and he finally realizes that his carefully cultivated nice guy currency holds absolutely no power in your realm, the terrifying transformation is complete. The calculating, patient fox instantly morphs into a highly venomous serpent. This explosive reaction is what clinical psychologists refer to as narcissistic rage, but I simply call it the ultimate, undeniable unmasking. Deprived of his vital supply of your eager compliance, his deeply fragile ego shatters completely, triggering a vicious, almost primal instinct to entirely destroy the very woman he recently claimed to adore. The absolute hallmark of this venomous stage is a sudden, breathtaking campaign of character assassination. Because he cannot possibly accept the humiliating reality that you have successfully rejected his manipulation, he must completely rewrite the narrative to protect his immaculate public image. He will expertly twist your perfectly reasonable boundary into a malicious attack, aggressively accusing you of being selfish, ungrateful, or even emotionally unstable. In a masterful stroke of dark psychology, the man who once played your flawless soulmate will now seamlessly cast himself as your traumatized victim, desperately trying to convince both you and anyone who will listen that you are the true villain of the story. He will deliberately invent cruel lies and deploy calculated smear campaigns specifically designed to tarnish your pristine reputation and isolate you from your support system. My dear, when this terrifying barrage of venom begins, your immediate instinct might be to fiercely defend yourself or desperately try to reason with him. You must categorically resist this urge. You cannot logically negotiate with a serpent that is actively trying to poison you. This brutal attack on your character is not a reflection of your worth. It is the absolute, irrefutable proof that your boundaries worked perfectly. The mask has permanently fallen, revealing the highly toxic monster beneath the charming facade. Ultimately, my dear, if a man's supposedly flawless mask completely shatters the very moment you establish a simple, healthy boundary, you must never, under any circumstances, attempt to fix him. You have categorically not lost a good man. You have successfully escaped a highly dangerous trap. Your only necessary response to a serpent's venom is absolute, unbothered detachment. Block his access entirely, ruthlessly apply the strict rule of silence, and fiercely protect your sovereign peace. Now, I have a rather vital question for you. Have you ever witnessed the terrifying moment a nice guy suddenly dropped his mask? Expose his specific manipulative tactics in the comments below. I always read every single one. If you are entirely ready to stop falling for cheap illusions and truly master the unspoken dynamics of relationship psychology, ensure you subscribe to Destiny's Decree and firmly ring the notification bell. Until next time, keep your mountains strictly immovable and your standards impeccably high.